Hello and welcome back to another card making tutorial. Today's video is going to showcase 5 Raksha Bandhan cards. Now the most interesting part about these cards are I used all of my paper scraps to create the backgrounds for these. Now I made a similar video before in the past, but I stepped it up a little further this time, and let me take you on this creative process along with me. If you're a card maker of any kind, I am sure you have a huge pile of paper scraps, either because these papers are too pretty to throw them away, or these papers were part of a paper pack out of which all the pretty ones are used, and these may not be that attractive to the eye. For example, as you can see, these purple pattern paper, I finished up the remaining, but these four I was not very fond of. Now, the easiest way to use up these scraps is to create strips out of them. Once you've created the strips, it's very easy. Get a card base. A thick cardstock is preferable because usually pattern papers are not that heavy weighted. And then you just add glue to the card base and uh, align these paper strips next to each other and cover that entire panel. Now you can go crazy with these cards. Either you can go with all the same shades, either you can make a color combination of two colors, or you can make probably a rainbow. I've done that in the past, and it instantly gives you a brilliant background, and you hardly need anything as the focal point of the card. Just imagine you have this as a card base and you have a beautiful word die on top of this, and you're done. You don't need anything else. Now, I did make a similar video in the past, which is on my channel KG School, where I just made these panels, trimmed off the excess, which are on the either sides of the card panel, and I added a few dies and a few stickers here and there, maybe, and that was it. But today I am going to take it to the next level. Now it is absolutely up to you. You can stop right here and create your cards, but I like overdoing things, so I am going to step it up by doing some inking and stenciling on it. Here the two card panels are ready, and earlier they looked so boring, but now they looked pretty interesting, right? Alright, now let me take you to the entire collection of such panels that I have created. You can see I have mix matched odd colors like black and white with lilac, or just black and whites, or strips of all the same pattern paper. So yeah, it's a process that you would love enjoying. It's very therapeutic, and you can do this while watching television or just Netflixing. Alright, once I have these scrap paper panels ready, I am going to do some ink blending, and I'm going to keep it around the tones of purple. So for the first card panel, I'm using Wilted Violet and Mermaid Lagoon, and I think this is peacock feathers to give you a very peacocky color combination. Now, again, you can stop right there, but I love overdoing things. So, I'm going to go over this with a glimmer paste. This is, I think, the Golden Dragon, and I'm using the Heartful Stencils by Craft Angles, and the Craft Angles Golden Dragon texture paste, shimmer texture paste, and I'm going to give it a nice thick coat. And once I pull off, look at that beautiful chunky panel. I don't know why, but it reminded me of those Banarsi saris which have those heavy golden borders, and I loved them. It's preferable to keep these panel to dry for probably overnight, but I saw that within a few hours on a rainy day, it was pretty dry to touch, and I could work on them further. For the second panel, I'm using shades of pink with wilted violet, that is picked raspberry and kitsch flamingo, and I just blended them using the Craft Angles blending brush. For stenciling, I'm using the Cluster Flowers stencil by Craftangles. I think this is my most overused stencil. I think I should retire them now. And with that, I'm using my most favorite shimmer texture paste, which is the Unicorn Dreams by Craftangles. Now, as you saw, along with the foil, I also put a thin used wet wipe, which is not wet anymore, to cover up my jar so that my paste does not dry out. When this panel dries up, guys, you're going to see that it's going to look like rock candy in the color of pink and purples, rather lilacs, and it's going to look so beautiful. Just hang on and remember those two panels, and we'll be getting back to them soon. Now let's work on the focal image of these cards. Now I'm going to turn all of these into Rakhi cards, and of course I'm going to go to my go-to Rakhi stamp set by Craftangles. This is the Happy Rakhi Bro, and I'm using the image where the sister is tying a Rakhi to the brother, and the brother is trying to hide the gift right behind him. I think it's super cool. Now, I'm going to do some alcohol marker coloring. Well, I don't have anything to say because this is a self explanatory process. And now, I've been getting feedbacks that they would like to see more coloring videos, but I totally understand if you're someone who's really bored and does not want to watch this and skip this. So, if you want to skip the entire coloring process, please jump to the timestamp mentioned on your screen. So, sit back and enjoy the process or just skip right ahead. I have finished coloring and adding highlights to my image, and the next step is to cut them out. A lot of people ask me about these pair of scissors. So these are the Tonic Studios Kush Grip, I think, spring cut scissors. These are not available in the market anymore, but there are different variations of the same scissors. So basically you'll see a similar scissor, probably not the same color combination, but if you go and search for Kush Grip scissors, you should find these. Now that my image has been entirely cut out, I have left a very thin white border around these. I'm going to start assembling the first card panel. This is the one which is looking like the Banarsi sari with the golden dragon shimmer paste. And you see how chunky my background is, because when I cut them out, it just scraped off some of those dried off paste. Oh, also for all the cuts today, I'm going to do this belly band method where I'm using all those thin scraps of my vellum paper. For this, I'm going simple. I'm just adding a belly band around the center, and I am fixing my uh, image on top of it with some foam tape. Next, I'm going to stamp out the sentiment Happy Rakhi, and I wanted to show you some partial stamp. Now the sentiment says Happy Rakhi Bro, but I don't want to stamp out bro. So first I'm aligning my stamp with the grids of my stamp block, and then I'm just going to cover the word bro with a washi tape. And then I'm going to dip it in my ink, And due to that washi tape masking, the word bro does not get inked at all. So it is clean and you can only stamp with the happy Rakhi sentiment. So when I stamp this on my paper, since there is no ink on the word bro, only happy Rakhi gets stamped. And I think this is a very cool method of pushing your stamps even further by masking some part of it. Alright, I have added my sentiment onto my card panel. I am covering few of those chunky hearts with some glossy accent to give a variation of textures, and we are going to leave this to dry. Let's go to the next panel, the one which was pink with unicorn dreams, and just look at that. How beautiful does that look? It gives a whole holographic effect. I've also added a belly band on this panel and already placed it on a white cardstock. I am stamping the brother sister image from the Happy Raksha Bandhan stamp set from Craft Angles. Now, I have not shown the coloring process of this image in the video because one is more than enough. But you can head to my Instagram, which is kenchi.school, and I will be putting a video of me coloring this image with my alcohol markers because a lot of you guys have been asking for it. Once this has been cut out, I am going to also stamp my sentiment, which is Happy Raksha Bandhan, on a thin strip of paper and then assemble everything together. I'm keeping the assembly very similar to the previous card. Add some foam tape behind the image, put it partially on the belly band, and then put the sentiment right next to it. And that's it. This easy and simple assembly. I think it works for all kinds of cards. Just adding some glossy accent here and there and the card is ready. Now let me show you a few other cards that I made with the same technique. Here is a one using the Midnight Dreams and Heartful stencil. And I used the sunflower from Everyday Sentiments and the Rakhi Thali from Happy Rakhi Bro and made these cards again using the belly band method there. These are the two cards that I already showed you, and I'm going to show you a few others that I created. Here is the one using the Just a Note tulips. I used some amethyst mica powder on it as well, and in the background I've used the braid pattern stencil with Unicorn Dreams shimmer paste. Now let's look at a close-up photos of all these cards. So these were all the Rakhi cards that I made for this year using this technique. But I am also going to show you a few more cards which are not Rakhi cards, but I created using the very same background technique. So hang in there. Here is the first non-Rakhi card using the same technique. If you see the background, it's again made out of strips, and I've done some ink blending with red and yellow ink, and I've used the flower cluster stencil along with golden dragon. This one is using the golden textured paste, and if you see that layering die, if you're curious, this is the layering peacock die by Birch Press Design. The third card is also made using the same die from the first card, which is the Simon Says Stamp Everglade Collage die. For this one, I have used again the Cluster Flower stencil by Craft Angles along with the Midnight Madness glitter texture paste. This one, there is no texture paste in there, but I thought I'll show it to you because I have used the same strip technique in the background along with the layered peacock die in the front. Alright, so all those were using the scrap strip technique, but here I made two more Raksha Bandhan cards. I thought I'll show it to you. This was the one that I made on a live, Instagram live with Kathy on Craft Angles channel. And this one is another Raksha Bandhan card that I really love. I did some fancy die cutting over here, and I'm going to make a video about this technique very soon. It's very interesting and it has so many potentials. Alright, so those were all the cards for today, and I hope, as usual, I inspired you to try this technique. Now, scraps can be very overwhelming, so let go if you have to. You don't have to use all of them, but if you want to, this is one technique that you can try out, and if you do let me know on Instagram, and I would be happy to check it out. For more such inspiring card making techniques, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Have a nice day. Bye.